Hello everybody, it's Nathan, and today I would like to talk about a topic that I've had a few discussions of online, so I feel I might as well make a video on it. When you read a manga, you can relatively get through it no matter your reading speed and everything. You can relatively get through a volume of, let's say, Last Order, Alita Last Order, and about, depending on if you read chapter by chapter, but depending on the length of the actual chapters and how fast you can go through it, I can go through a whole volume within a day. The only thing with that is not possible whatsoever is with novels. The Naruto novels I've been wanting to read forever. Out of everything, I've only read the Sakura one. The reason why I've only read the Sakura one is I was somewhat interested, drawn into it via the back summary of it. The thing is, even with these novels, it takes forever to read these. My reading speed is lower than average. This is a pure fact that I have to think and mentally go through everything that's happening in the story. That's what I like. The Naruto novels, they're kind of like easy for you to read and stuff like that if you have already watched Naruto Shippuden and OG Naruto. It's like you already know how these characters act and somewhat. This is just like a new adventure for the characters. I'm still kind of salty that this was never adapted during the ending of Shippuden. But there's also other novels that I can't, I'm afraid to start. Like the Monogatari series. I've had all of the first season books for a while. Every time I start to read it, I look over to my bookcase right over here and see all of the volumes that I have. I'm just like, do I really want to start this? And each of these will probably take me 3 to 4 months to read. I've been putting off to reading these. I want to. I just need to have like the mental fortitude to actually read these. Kind of like how I said with the Sakura novel, I was able to read this easily in a road trip. That's kind of how I'm doing with all of these. If I ever have a road trip, I'm bringing a novel, like the One Piece Ace story. I have the second volume of this in Japanese too, but I can't read a lick of Japanese. The one novel series that I read a lot in high school was in fact the one and only Sword Art Online. I read a lot of that in high school, just like I would bring a volume just to read during study hall and stuff. Amazing. One interesting peek of what I have here is I have a rare printing of The Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya. It's out of every single book I have here, this is by far the quickest I was able to read this, because I've already watched the events of the movie before I picked up this. This is hardback, by the way, not the paperback, which they still have in stock. But it was like I breezed through this and thoroughly enjoyed it. I have to take my time for Sword Art Online to fully understand everything. It's a very enjoyable read. It was the pure fact of, do I want to sit down and dedicate everything to these novels? I have novels. I recently got Slime 300 Max. That's something I want to read. But it's like, do I want to kind of force myself to read this and forget all my other shows that I'm watching? In the time it takes me to read one novel, I can reread all of Alita and be recaught back up. And Alita's not a short series either. It's decently long. It's like, how do I dedicate time to these novels when I have both the manga that I'm reading week to week and the anime that I've now decided to wait until after it all airs to actually watch? How do I fit novels into that equation outside of road trips? Even this Ace novel, it's relatively short, but I'm just afraid to like start it and me not finish it. I have the Tokyo Ghoul novels down there, in that drawer, right in that little shelf right there. I started the first novel and got halfway through, and then just stopped reading it. It's not like that story in the Tokyo Ghoul novels isn't good. It's good. I want to go into the world of Tokyo Ghoul and see these new stories from. There's a whole entire one with Shu. That was an amazing story. I think I got to like the middle, either the middle or the end of that story, and then just didn't read any more of it. I want to. It's just like I have to like weirdly dedicate my time management, and just these novels nowadays, I just can't find a decent amount of time to read them. I want to read them. In fact, I wouldn't have loved the Sword Art Online series as much as I do if I haven't read these novels. It's like the novel to anime adaptation tends to be messy, but then you got shows like 86 that does it perfectly well. You have the actual, if I go back to the Naruto one, you had most of the novels that was released in this like series adapted. And then you have the Boruto the Boruto novels. One of them was fully adapted in like episode 80 something of Boruto. Then the director said the upcoming filler episodes, they're going to go look into novels to pull content from. They can do good adaptations, but I just prefer to actually read it, and I'm stuck trying to manage the time to actually read it. I would like to go back and reread The Disappearance, because it's like, it's a hardback. They don't sell these anymore. It's like, I really want to do something with the Haruhi series. I try to rewatch the series once a year, but then again, I have the whole Haruhi manga collection on my bookshelf. It's like, I need to get to I need to get to the manga version, but I also want to read the novel. Time management can be really hard, especially when you take on a novel. It's a massive task. Nowadays, I kind of skip around and Sword Art Online and read that. I've read the first story of the progressive novel. It's good. It's like, when a author has an idea, they go all out on it. But it's like, do you really need to push out, like, let's say, 1,000 Naruto novels? I know, that was an exaggeration, but it just goes to show you the pure amount of novels. And we don't even get all of it in the States. I know for a fact the wedding novel was never brought over. And I think there's a Jiraiya novel too that was never brought over. I want these novels to be very easy to read. Kind of like the Sakura novel that I fully read through. And it's like, you need to incentivize something, because more times out of not, when I watch the novel adaptations, let's say something like, what's a recent novel that I read? Well, that's a manga series, but let's just say any like isekai, which I've already had my problem on isekais. Just check out my rant video. Let's say, is it wrong to try to pick up girls in dungeon, Danmachi? The anime kinda works for that. You can tell they're omitting stuff. Even I haven't read anywhere past the first novel of that. And it's like, even in like season 2, season 3, some of the context for scenes feel kind of forced and not really natural, because they don't have, I can tell it's missing content, but at the same time, do I want to pick up Danmachi than all the rest of the novels that I don't have, and just put it on my shelved list of stuff to read like the One Piece novel. And when I was in Japan, there was more One Piece novels besides the Ace one. I remember advertising about a law novel, I believe. It's just like, if any series that I would be willing to read novels of, it's One Piece. But the pure fact of everything else that gets released, Slime 300, Overlord, Tanya, everything just kind of feels like, the time management to what you get and trying to manage everything else is just like, no. It's like, do I want to fully read the 2 volumes of Overload, which you can see in the black spine and black overall book cover back over there? It's like, I have those. I was planning on reading it before Overload 4 comes out. Will I get to that? Because the season 4 has already been announced. I would love to read the Tanya novels. It just seems like a very interesting world, but you run into the same problem. Yeah, I think I've rambled on about this topic for way too long. If you guys enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll be back whenever I can ramble on about another topic. Everyone, have a great day.